Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Timmy. I am a wedding photographer based in the United Kingdom. Today I'll be talking about my 2022 in review in my first year as a wedding photographer in the United Kingdom. I will share with you some challenges, some successes, I guess, things I did that I feel might be helpful to anyone who is looking to migrate or who is currently here and just want to start a business. So stick with me and let's get it started. I built a business back home in Nigeria for the past 3 to 4 years as a wedding photographer, and it seemed like everything was perfect. And not like it seemed like everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. I was beginning to get clients who were willing to pay me for what I felt I was worth at that time. But I had to move. I had to move to the UK. I did that in November. And I think this is one of the things many people are not prepared for. Well, life generally doesn't prepare us for what it brings to us. We actually have to go through certain things and learn by ourselves. I think that's what adulting is about. So I'll be sharing with some of you some of the challenges I faced. First, visibility. I didn't have the visibility I wanted or I thought I had. I think the only then I had just about a little bit over 9,000 followers on Instagram, and predominantly were from Nigeria. Moving into the UK, I basically knew nobody. I had no network of people, but I had followed some few photographers who were doing well, who I kind of like resonated with their work. Their work was fantastic, and we had conversations here and there, and yeah, that was just it. So visibility, I had no visibility. The second thing was pricing. It was difficult for me as a wedding photographer to come into a new country and know what the pricing should be. Now, the rent, the cost of living, the cost of doing business in both countries are different. The economy is different. Back in Nigeria, I was paying rent every year, but over here, rent was needed to be paid every month. Unless again you own a house, and when you own a house, you have mortgages on the house, and etc. etc. But it was just completely different. So first, I had the issue of visibility. I knew no one, and even if I did know someone, how to charge anyone was a problem because I didn't know how to, quote my prices. So what I did at first was converted how much I was charging in Nigeria, converted it into pounds, and it was ridiculously small. Yes, as you would expect. The second thing is I couldn't set any tangible goals because I didn't know what metrics was even attainable, was even achievable. It seemed almost like a clear canvas. Like I had no data to understand how the market works here. So that was the third challenge. The next challenge was inquiries. The inquiries I still got were coming from Nigeria. You have people. I had about 20 inquiries as of November for weddings in 2023. From Nigeria, and I didn't want to attend to that audience anymore. I wanted to be present in my current location, right? So the other thing was logistics. Back home, I was based in Lagos. Lagos, easily drivable. I had a car, I could drive around. And when not, I could use Uber or Taxify, those taxi cabs, and could get to your location. Now, coming over here is quite different. You had to use trains, you had to know your train times, you had to know your bus times, and you miss one, you miss the next. And I learned it the hard way, but it was good for me because I had someone like my partner who was able to take me through, downloading, the coach bus and all of those apps. But it was a totally different system. I am based in the Cotswold, which is like far from everywhere, but one of the most beautiful places to live. think a lot of my work today have been influenced by me living here. I wish I would share more on that in some other video, not today, but trust me, where you stay or your environment can inform or can influence your work as an artist. Where I stay currently is far away from everywhere. It's not London, it's about 2 hours, 30 minutes away from London. By train, that's about 3 hours. And it was just far to go to anywhere. Now, if I was to even provide my services to people, most people would come to London. And how would I get to London to provide my services to these people? So these were challenges I faced. Then the last one, let me just pick that up from here. Yes. So I sold a lot of my items back home in Nigeria when I was moving, and I had to start buying those gears again. Now that means reinvesting money into the business that wasn't providing money yet. Before I move into the solution of what I did, there was one more thing, was perspective. The perspective towards weddings are different. As you know, we have seasons here. We have the winter, we have the winter seasons, we had the summer seasons, we had the autumn seasons, and we have the what's the last one? It's just three. Spring. Yes. So we had these four seasons, and weddings are typically tailored to based on the seasons. And that was a realization for me because back in Nigeria, weddings were every Saturday. Every week there is a wedding. I would typically shoot 52 weddings in a year. I would typically shoot even more than 52 weddings in a year because Saturdays are for the events, Thursdays are for the traditional events, funny days like Friday, Monday, Tuesdays were for registry. So you could make a lot of money if you had the value to provide, and that was it for me back then. But yeah, it was strange that people did not get married in January, February, March, and beginning of March, April, May. That's when the wedding peaks up. Then summer weddings, it's up. You're all busy. Then as summer begins to wind down in September, there's such a very deep dive. Like it was just crazy. And at this point, I didn't know anything about this. No one tells you these things, or I say, even if there are information about, you don't even know where to search to get this information, right? So good for me. I went through all of this, and I succeeded. So first, visibility. I knew I had to take initiative by using what I have to get what I need. Upon service, God doesn't expect anything other than using what He has given us to get to where He has called us to be it a goal or a destination. Now, I had about 10K followers on my Instagram, so I started using my social media. I started producing content with my partner on social media, reels and etc. stories. Anywhere I go to, then I would just take good pictures, post. And I decided, okay, this was good. I was having a lot of engagements from people. People were saying, this guy is in a new city. He's no longer in Nigeria. But I still wanted to get inquiries from this new city. From this new place, this new country. So I kept it an ad. This is, I feel, was a very good pivotal point for me. I decided I was going to do a shoot for free for 10 people, and I kept it an ad out there for 10 people. I'm shooting for free, and all they had to do was pay for logistics, which is I think about £150, right? And I had a session with this beautiful people, and amazing. Everything was shot in London, so basically the £150 I paid was used to cover the logistics to get to London, and that was it. I built that portfolio with these amazing people were ready to collaborate with me for pictures. Right now, beforehand, I had reached out to a lot of people. I've reached out to planners, I've reached out to certain gatekeepers, you know, but either I didn't get a reply, or it's like, oh, thank you, you have a very lovely work, I can't wait to work with you, and you never hear from them again. I can't blame them. If you're new in a place, you don't expect them to throw their own clients on you, because it's too much risk. I mean, who's ready to risk their source of income to a newbie that they don't know from anywhere? So wedding photography is really about trust. Why would a client pay me, for example, £5,000 or £10,000, to shoot a wedding when they don't know me from anywhere? How do they know that I will run away with their money or something like that? So, or how would they know that when I deliver the job, they actually get what I say I'm going to deliver to them? But you have to build that trust, and that's what I realized. I started reaching out to people on social media to build relationships, solid relationships, people I felt I shared the same value with. Now, there are people who were there, and it's like the whole Instagram or the whole social media is all over them, they're shooting this wedding, doing this, but I needed to find people that I really aligned with, or I synced with. And I think that's very important. Relationships, the kind of relationships you build on social media. So that's what I did. As regards visibility, I started reaching out to people. I got the bookings. It helped me develop my portfolio, and I posted this. After I posted that, I realized I remember shooting a wedding one time, and just before I get to that point, I spoke about logistics. So I got bookings. I started getting, inquiries from referrals. People. Now, one shocking fact is, all of the people I shot for free, I didn't shoot their wedding, right, or anything. But it helped me build relationship with meaningful people that they were quick to share to their friends and to their own networks. Oh, this guy has done this for me, this guy is good. Those referrals led to what I would call an avalanche of other referrals that brought me the kind of clients I want or I'm working with today. Now, after posting one of those weddings, a planner saw it. She reached out to me in February, asking me for my packages, pricing. I was just everywhere. At some point, I was asking people, okay, what is your budget? And I realized that is a big issue. We'll talk about that later, but I would just say people will use you and it's fine. People will use you. Get ready to be used, because people are that selfish. But it's not their fault. You just have to ask yourself, okay, if you're going to use me, what am I getting in return for this? And I felt a lot of people exploited my knowledge then, and but it was okay. It was good, like, for the time being, right? Because though I was not asking for exposure, I wanted to work. I love to shoot weddings. I wanted that portfolio out, and I got it, right? So basically, there was this valuable exchange between that reduced prices or exploited prices to meaningful products or meaningful time to share my service with people. Now, so I had about 50 inquiries after I started posting in January alone. About 50 inquiries, and I can tell you, none of the inquiries ended up booking me for the packages I had now developed. My prices were sitting very low compared to what they are right now, but they were not booking me. Well, like I said, they were willing to exploit, but they had really no value they were going to offer in terms of that. Now, to some amazing referrals that I got that led to this. I remember shooting a wedding back in 2019, right? And his friend was getting married in this country, so he referred me to his friend, and that was how I got, one of my first weddings. And from there, I got my destination wedding to shoot a family relative of that the bride, and it was just like a domino effect. You do well in this, and people call you for that. So all of this to say, yeah, it got better with time. I think when you go into a new place, there's this, you know, sense of I've seen this person succeed in it, and we get so hasty. We want to look for the easy way out, and sometimes we make harsh decisions. I remember getting a very lucrative offer to work for one of the biggest, um, wedding brands in the United Kingdom then, and he reached out to me with a very good offer, but I knew this was not the direction I wanted to go. I wanted to work, right? No doubt, but I also wanted to build my business, right? And so I always we turned that down, and I started looking inward, to know what exactly my values were and what was that unique thing that I could push out there and sell. And I realized I was good in storytelling, right? So I started to learn, I started to read, I started to go through conferences, live events. I paid for some live classes, I think one of the classes that really changed me, or my view as regards perspective as regards wedding photography internationally, was one of the live events with Kitty Mary. Yeah, it was about $100 thereabouts, so it was fairly affordable, but it was a wedding class. And one of the things she spoke about a photographer's journey. And let me just get that from my phone. And she said every photographer goes through. Now there are different levels. We know we are all good in what we do, but let's look at it from this perspective, from the perspective of how much a photographer makes in a year, right? And she says in the class, one of the things she said, or she listed, was tray table. So we had this column that had people that earned between zero, they're practically hobbyists, people that earn 10k a year, they are amateur, people that earn between 10 to 50k a year, they're professionals, people that earn between 50k to 200k a year, they're experts, people that earn between 200k to 500k, influencers, and people that earn between 500k and above a year. They're called icon. And I remember watching Eric Flugberg's YouTube video, and when it was going around asking people how much do you think photographers earn in a year, and someone was surprised that a photographer could earn about 100k a year. That changed everything for me. I knew, okay, this is my business. Now, how do I get to where I think I should be? I don't want to be shooting every day because it was not sustainable. Because the locations are far from each other. The travel trips are draining. I remember going to one wedding and having to spend 14 hours on the road. The next day I just told myself, now I'm getting a car, and you had to get a car. So all of these things, no one tells you about it until you have that experience and then realize that this is a necessity. You need this to live in this place, right? So, but that graph started shaping my mind to the kind of clients I wanted to book. Started shaping my mind to the number of bookings I wanted to take. I started working on my websites. Also my Instagram, how I relay experience, about my services began to change. My perspective began to change. I remember one time I literally muted a lot of photographers or a lot of pages on my Instagram that were not aligned to my vision or to what I wanted to be seeing, and I started making impactful connections kind of work I wanted to produce, the kind of client I wanted to work with, right? I was very intentional about that. I also wanted to be true to myself, so I would still share personal things, but I knew what I was going for. And that changed everything. I remember a few days ago we're doing a review of the year, and I realized that shot 21 weddings, amazing weddings of different couples, and it's just fascinating. Actually, more than 25, I think it's actually 25, not 21, 25 years, and it's amazing when you look at the figures, and I'm currently sitting at the expert level, right? From practically zero, like starting with zero, and you're in a place where, okay, you cannot even think further. So yes, that's it. That's literally it. Few things I would suggest. I think I'll just mention them again. I know I rambled with the thought. I'll just mention them again. They're very important. Planning and strategy. It's something you should do at every point. Even right now, as I'm moving to the year 2023 in view, I've started planning. I've started making my notes. How many weddings I want to shoot. What my rates would be. You know, how I want my pictures to look like. It's very important. How I want my website to look like. Your social media, what are you doing with your social media? What are you doing with your social networks? You know, it's not just enough to like and comment on people's stories. Make meaningful relationships, build relationships with people. Sometimes you might slide into people's DMs. Truth, they won't reply you, but just keep doing you. You know, be hungry for building those relationships, and you'll be surprised what could come out of it. Then job shadowing. I remember second shooting for a lot of people. Not a lot, but people that I could align myself with, people that I believe I loved their work, and I could offer my assistance. At some point, I was asking them how much do they charge? Do they pay their second shooters? Right now, I've grown to a point where I charge, you know, different from how I started, and that's how you should be. You may need to second shoot for free. To be fair, you're doing yourself more good. I job shadowed for free this same year for many fantastic people. It exposed me. I knew what I wanted from it. So be strategic about this sort of relationships, you know, and know when to stop. It's important to know when to stop, because if you don't, you'll be in that level for too long. You don't want to be there. Remember where you are right now. What you have right now is all you need for the next level. But if you just stop there, you'll remain at this level. The next thing is goal setting. Yes, it's always set goals. I can't say more than that. My bonus point is be value driven rather than product driven. I think I'm gonna end there. Be value driven rather than product driven. Everything changed when I realized I needed to provide an experience for my clients other than just what we're paying for. I moved from thinking about, oh, these people paid me just 10 hours, just snap, to what is a story? What matters to them? So, those are the things I really learned this year. Going forward, what are the things I think anyone should do at this moment? Like I said, take out time to strategize, take out time to plan, take out time to define what you really want. What's your value proposition? What are you really bringing to the table? What are you offering that someone else? What are you offering that Timmy is not offering to his clients? You know, what is that unique thing? You need to identify that yourself. Know what is unique to you. You know, and see how you can communicate that with your work or with the way you work. Learn to say no. Yes, going forward, 2023, learning to say no, learning when to say no, learning when to say yes, learning when to say no. give yourself a time, learn, right? And people might not really agree with or agree with this, but you can be so valuable that it will be impossible for you not to get paid. That's the truth. The next thing is your client experience. What experience are you conveying to your client? What experiences do they get when they work with you, when they meet with you, when they talk with you? It matters. Not even your clients alone, people that work with you. What kind of experience do you give them? People that follow your story, what kind of experience are you providing, for them? One of the key things I learned, take home point for me is do not wait for something to happen. Make something happen. Alright, thank you guys for staying through this entire long video. I know it's been absolutely draining, me sharing myself and sharing my successes and my struggles. But I just felt like at this point, this is what we need to hear. This is what we need to share. This is what many people need to know. I'll see you guys later. Hopefully, we get to share more on this channel. Please comment. Let me know what you learned. I would really love to, hear from you guys. Thank you very much and have a lovely day. Bye. Everyone, my name is Timmy Oshin. I'm a wedding photographer based in the United Kingdom. Kingdom. I'm talking nonsense.